After the flood, humanity stood on clean ground with a fresh beginning. God had just rescued them from destruction, and yet instead of looking up in gratitude, they looked inward in ambition. In a place called Shinar, people didn't ask, "What does God want?" They asked, "How high can we climb?" This is the story of a tower that wasn't built to reach heaven, but to replace it. And before we judge them, we need to ask ourselves, how often do we build the same tower in our own lives? Shinar is where humanity gathered after the flood and said, "Let us make a name for ourselves." Genesis 11:4. Pause there. Not let us honor God. Not let us thank the one who saved us from the waters, but let us become great. Shinar wasn't just a location on a map. Shinar was a state of the human heart. After the flood, God told humanity to spread out, to fill the earth, to trust him again. But instead of obeying, they clustered together. Instead of trusting, they fortified. Instead of worshipping, they built. And what did they build? A tower. But Scripture is clear. This wasn't about architecture. It was about identity. We will build so high that we won't need God anymore. We will secure ourselves so we are never vulnerable again. We will make a name for ourselves. This wasn't a tower of bricks. It was a tower of pride, a tower of control, a tower of self-salvation. Shinar is like a child who says, "I don't need my parents anymore." At first it sounds confident, independent, strong. But every parent knows that confidence without wisdom always leads to danger. Because the child doesn't stop needing love, protection, and guidance just because they declare independence, and humanity didn't stop needing God just because they learned how to bake bricks. Shinar represents the moment humanity said, "We survived the flood, now we'll survive without him." But here's what's important. God did not confuse their language to punish them. He did it to save them, because when humanity unites without God, unity doesn't lead to peace. It leads to tyranny. When everyone shares one voice but no humility, one vision but no reverence, one goal but no God, power concentrates, pride hardens, and oppression always follows. History proves this again and again. Empires rise saying, "We will bring order. We will bring progress. We will bring unity." But unity without God always demands someone be silenced. God saw what Shinar would become if it continued, so he interrupted. Not because he feared the tower. Scripture says the tower wasn't even close to heaven. God wasn't threatened by their height. He was concerned about their direction. So he scattered them. And scattering felt like loss, confusion, division. But in reality it was mercy. Sometimes God breaks our plans because they would destroy us if they succeeded. Shinar still exists today. It shows up whenever we say, "I'll build my life first, then I'll invite God in later." I don't need prayer, I have strategy. I don't need surrender, I have control. It shows up in careers built without integrity, families run without grace, faith replaced by achievement. We still build towers, different materials, same motivation, but Scripture reminds us of a better way. Later in the Bible, another structure appears, not a tower reaching up, but a cross reaching down. Humanity once said, "Let us go up to God." But God said, "No, I will come down to you." At Babel, languages were confused. At Pentecost, languages were restored. Because God's answer to pride isn't destruction, it's redemption. Shinar teaches us this truth. We were never meant to make a name for ourselves. We were meant to carry his name. And the moment we stop building towers and start building altars, confusion turns into communion. So the question isn't, are we united? The real question is, who is at the center of our unity? Because unity without God enslaves, but unity under God restores. If this message spoke to your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Sight Kids and Nino's Vision, so together we can keep pointing hearts back to God.